On May 8th, 2023, Gregory Bagwell, a meth user, arsonist, and repeated offender with numerous violent charges and psychotic episodes, was fatally shot by Keith Sullivan while Bagwell was trespassing on Sullivan's porch at 2 a.m. Sullivan, a family man, has never been arrested, never had a traffic ticket, and is a positive influence in his community, where he owns a music academy for over 18 years and is the music director at his church. On May 7th, 2023, hours before the shooting, Sullivan's wife, while outside, had heard a gunshot originating from Bagwell's trailer. This was very concerning because the Sullivans, months earlier, had read numerous news articles where Bagwell had shot a weapon at neighbors' homes and law enforcement in 2015, eventually having to be tear gassed from his own home. In August of 2022, Bagwell had intentionally burned down his own home, and he was only living near the Sullivans for a few months. In that short time, Bagwell had been arrested for methamphetamine possession and breaking into cars near their home. Around the time of the gunshot, other neighbors nearby had called the sheriff's department to report that Bagwell was destroying the trailer where he was staying, which he did not own. This trailer was approximately 100 yards from the Sullivans' home. The Sullivans saw the deputies search with spotlights around the trailer and the weeds nearby and assumed Bagwell was armed and hiding. Throughout the remainder of that evening, they remained on a heightened state of alert. Sullivan walked in his daughter, arriving home from theater, and accompanied his wife when she went outside. Around midnight on May 8th, Sullivan heard Bagwell outside his trailer yelling and destroying the trailer with a pipe. Fearing that Bagwell was in a meth or psychotic rage directed at him, he called the sheriff's department. Sullivan called back a second time, informing dispatch to tell deputies Bagwell was probably armed. 12:45 a.m. May 8th. While at Bagwell's property, an officer actually made contact with him. Besides a psychotic rant where he claimed other neighbors had been sodomizing him all day and he was tired of it, Bagwell also wanted to know which neighbor had called on him. Common sense suggests he did not have good intentions by asking this question. That officer leaves Bagwell's and parked in front of Sullivan's home, more than likely inadvertently signaling to Bagwell who had called. At 1:15 a.m. May 8th, Sullivan walked out in the rain to speak with the officers parked in front of his home. Despite one officer reporting that Sullivan was concerned and in fear of Bagwell, neither officer spoke to Sullivan. They vacated the area directly after. Within 30 minutes of the officers leaving, Bagwell was on the Sullivans' front porch near their door. He was witnessed on surveillance camera, and Sullivan told his wife to call 911 and went outside to confront him. Bagwell pretended that someone had called him there, which is a tactic he has used in the past. It was at that time that Bagwell took his right hand from the rail and was reaching toward his waistband. His other hand was grasping an item, later described as a chrome-tipped lighter. Fearing that Bagwell was grabbing a weapon, Sullivan began firing and following him into the yard for the last shots. Sullivan would testify he could not hear anything, which is a common phenomenon among shooters, and that Bagwell wasn't following his command to stay down. Sullivan would later take a polygraph, which confirmed that he believed Bagwell was armed while on his front porch, and that Sullivan had never spoken with or invited him to his home at any time. He passed this polygraph easily. Sullivan was indicted for murder in violation of Alabama Code 13A-3-23, also known as the Stand Your Ground Law, in February of 2024. At the subsequent immunity hearing in June, the new district attorney, Summerford, presented no credible evidence to support the charge. In fact, Sullivan's defense team entered in evidence that Bagwell's bond had been revoked 3 days before the shooting, and the DA's office believed Bagwell was a danger to the community. Moreover, the chief investigator at the time, Nick Brown, who is now once again an officer for Fort Payne Police, admitted on the stand that he had never even read the stench of ground law before that date. He did not know to corroborate Sullivan's story, and key statements were buried within the crime report or outright not included. The police chief of nearby Geraldine testified that Bagwell was known to law enforcement and the community as dangerous and armed. And it wasn't a matter of if he would be shot, but rather when. Despite overwhelming testimony that more than demonstrated that Sullivan met the required preponderance of evidence, the presiding judge denied his immunity with no reasons given. The appeal is currently at the Alabama Supreme Court, and the criminal trial is set for the spring of 2025. We are asking for everyone to help right this travesty. Call your elected official, share this video, write letters, sign the petition, and donate to Sullivan's legal fund. You may be next.